is Jesus having a bad day? Doesn't that sound nasty? It's not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs. And back then, people didn't have pet dogs like we do today that are loved so much they're become family. So that's a pretty nasty insult. But I think there's something else going on here. Because Jesus, after all, being the Son of God, represents a God who in the first reading says, "My house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples." Not just the Israelites, but everybody. And then in the second reading, we hear Paul saying, maybe, since I'm going to preach to the Gentiles, those who are not Israelites anymore, maybe the Israelites will get jealous. And that'll be God's way of hooking them back in and believing in Jesus the Messiah. So we got a big God here. A God who has room in his heart for everybody. And yet, Jesus says, I'm only called to preach to the house of Israel. That's my call that my Father gave me. And even, it's not right to throw it to you dogs. Ouch! Well, doing a little research, here's what I found out. First of all, everybody's prejudiced in some way. And yes, Israel would sometimes refer to the Gentiles as dogs or even as pigs. Okay? Now, was Jesus influenced by that sin of others, even though he chose not to sin himself? I don't know, and I don't want to go there. But this is what I found to be very moving. Another way of interpreting the woman's response was, please, Lord, even the puppies get the scraps that fall from the table of the children. When she used that, she was using more of a diminutive term for dogs, like even the doggies get a little scrap falling from the table. And those of you who, like me, are dog lovers, sometimes it doesn't have to fall from the table, now does it? I think Jesus as a human being, even though he was informed by his divine nature, he's always had to listen as a human being. And he knew his mission. His mission was to Israel. But I think maybe his Father, who intended it to go out to the whole world like me and you, maybe his Father picked this nameless woman in this gospel to start to pull the gospel out to others. She's not an Israelite. But you know what she did? She tugged on Jesus' heartstring. She made it so he couldn't say no. Let me give you an example of that. I have a friend whose granddaughter is only 3, and she could use the iPad better than me. Those kids learn so fast. They learn a couple of different things. At 2, they learn how to say no. By 3, they're using the computer better than a lot of us. And they also know the art of manipulation. Let me give you an example. If you gave her your iPhone, she'd play with it all day. And she likes other things, but once she gets that phone, right? So her mom and her grandma don't want her to use the phone all the time. But you know, she's a cute little girl. What does she do? She comes up and hugs her grandma. She says, "Oh, Granny, I love you so much." "Oh, thank you. I love you too. Can I use your phone?" There's no subtlety yet. They haven't learned that yet. Tugs on your heartstring. That term, pulls on that heartstring, just like I lost my dog last year, but I had a dog that I left up with some friends in Independence, and my dog learned this little trick. If the human won't feed you from the table, you stare at those big eyes. If that doesn't work, you nudge their arm. If that doesn't work, you lick their elbow. But you don't give up. And you know what? Somebody always gives in. They pull on your heartstring. You ever think that maybe you pull on God's heartstring? And you'll find out how someday? Maybe you don't think your prayer is answered. But I believe you've got the Father right here. And that woman went through the Son, went through his humanity, which was trained to only go to the house of Israel. She tugged on that heartstring. Come on, give me a break. Even the puppies eat the scraps. Her trust was so tender that I believe it became the beginning of the mission to the rest of the world outside of Israel, like the Father promised. She tugged on the heartstring of the Son. And when we do that, nothing can stop you because God can't resist you. Deep, tender, childlike trust. That's how you receive from the Father, God Himself. It'll change things in life sometimes, and sometimes it won't. Why? Because God only wants us to have the best. God, the Father, wants you to have God and become like God. It can't resist any prayer that will get you closer to God. Someday in heaven, I believe you'll find out how